When it comes to reaching your maximum potential, I think one of the most underrated activities people can do is exercise. And this video is here to show you why, not just physically, but why psychologically exercise is so important in you reaching your full potential or reaching the top of your peak as a human being. Now, in psychology, there's a concept called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, there's 5 parts to that hierarchies of needs. At the bottom is all of the basics, so this physiological requirements of a human being. So in the bottom tier, or the foundation, is food, water, shelter, and sex, and all of those bits and pieces that we need as a species to be able to survive. The second tier is also another physiological requirement, and it is safety and security. So for us in the modern age, it would be more around having a secure job or a financial income regularly coming in the door. So those are the 2 foundations at the bottom, and they're physiological. So food, water, and shelter, safety and security at the, above that. Beyond that, though, we have our 3 psychological requirements as a human being. And if we think of those as being able to tier on top, this is where I want to bring exercise into the conversation. Now, tier number 3 is connections with other people. Now, they can be in-depth conversations as relationships, or they can just be relationships with friends and family and people around you. The 4th tier is self-esteem, so how we feel about ourselves. And the very top and the pinnacle of what we are trying to achieve is self-actualization. Now, there's some very significantly in-depth conversations about self-actualization, being towards enlightenment, transcendence. But I think the best way to sort of tie this into exercise is our ability to reach our full potential. And we should be doing that as a human being anyway. And if we are doing that, we're usually going to have fulfilled all of our requirements. What's exercise got to do with this? Well, ultimately, when you are training in a facility similar to vast strength and conditioning, or partaking in an activity where you can share with other people your successes, you're now connecting with other people of a similar mindset or a very similar thought process to yourself. And that can be quite that's part of one of our physical needs, sharing that. And it's always those memes or those jokes that people share about how do you know somebody does CrossFit? Don't worry, they'll tell you all about it. That's the phenomenon as well of group think. So connecting with people in groups, sharing a commonality is going to be one of our physical needs. And to do that, unfortunately, you are going to have to exercise to counteract that. Now, people do this without exercise. They join a book club, or they go to P&C meetings, or they do something with play groups and all of those bits and pieces. But really, to tie it back to the human and getting the most out of ourselves, physicality shared in a group setting is going to really bring us to the next level of our existence and where we're shooting for as a person. Now, above that is obviously self-esteem. So self-esteem is something that we do when we feel good about ourselves. Now, unfortunately, there are some elements of self-esteem, like what we look like, who we are, and all those bits and pieces. When it comes to physical activity, we can feed our self-esteem by delivering on our own promises. We can show up to the classes that we've booked. We can put in the hard work. We can achieve certain goals. So what we do is, particularly in our facility, we have an achievements board. We celebrate attendance, and those 2 things really do show us how well we're doing and be able to feed our self-esteem. And then the last part is the self-actualization, and that's the piece that we are really shooting for. The ability to reach our maximum potential. The other component of self-actualization is the ability to want to reach higher. So to be able to see a peak, or to be able to tell ourselves we want that certain goal and be able to reach for the skies and achieve it. When we look at programming, we've got things like, maybe it's important for you to hit a heavier back squat. Maybe you want to hit a heavier squat, clean and jerk. Maybe you just want to do some pull-ups. At Vast Strength and Conditioning, there are a variety of different goals that people set out to achieve that they reach for the skies for. And that continually happens over and over and over again. And these are feats of strength, they're feats of conditioning, and even though they may have some aesthetic goals that they'd like to achieve. So ultimately, to be able to create the best version of yourself, exercise needs to come into the equation to help you, number one, connect with other people. Number two, to be able to raise your self-esteem, to shoot for some certain goals and achieve those, and then self-actualize, reset those goals, aim a little bit higher, and make sure you are reaching your full potential as a human being. Hope this video helps with you understanding the 5 physical needs of the human being, the concept of the hierarchy of needs from Abraham Maslow, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side.